How nice to have you here. Happy Friday.
Oh, can't hear you.
Nishant is here.
Awesome.
It's great.
You'll probably like my band picture better than the real thing. So
Oh, that's not true, Paul. Goodness, what a thing to say.
Seen that picture. I think you should put it up, Paul.
You like that picture? There you go.
I like it. It's good.
There he is. That's the best profile picture ever.
That's pretty cool.
A lot of fun.
Springsteen's got nothing on you, Paul.
Well, no, that's not true. He does.
Just slightly
My
different
wife,
bank account.
My wife and I
that's
went to
fun.
see him, and he has 3 buses and 10 semi-trailer trucks on me, from what I could see in the
Did you
parking
see
lot.
did you see him in this recent tour?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I did too. But they got the whole band and the horn section and the singers and
That's
everybody. So
amazing. Couple
yeah,
guest guitarists. So
it was
yes.
incredible. It was incredible, incredible, incredible. Well, I'm glad everybody could take a little time with us on a Friday.
Right. And we got the chance to run this one twice today, so we could make it available across.
So we're
everything.
better. We're going to be better this
Yeah,
time
you
than we
got-
were for the
you get
last
the more
guys.
practice
Wow.
version here.
All right. What do you think, Brian? Should we roll?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So it's so good to see everybody here, and especially on a Friday. I really appreciate it. If you don't know both of us, I'm Susan Baier and co-founder of Agency Core. I also own a research agency called Audit. And Brian and I got together to do this research last year. This is actually our third study. We did the first one in 2022. And we have more information about Agency Core, which is a nonprofit, and all we do is this. Somebody asked us at a conference, what do we sell? And we said, nothing. We don't sell anything through Agency Core. So we just do this research. I actually conduct 2 studies every year for agencies that are free and available. This is the first one, and this is research with agency leaders. The second one I've been doing for 13 years with Drew McClellan of Agency Management Institute. That is called Agency Edge, and that researches agency clients. We're going to have links for both of those 2026 studies for you at the end of our presentation today. But we're taking the opportunity today to look at some of the data that bumps up against each other between leaders and agency leaders and clients, and highlight some really interesting things about the relationships and where agencies are, what we think is in the minds of clients versus what clients are actually saying. So I hope you find it entertaining. We love conversation and questions about this, so please just unmute yourself and speak up. We'll be chatting about this as we go through it, but I guarantee we'll have you out of here on time. Okay, this is, Brian, my favorite take out of the Agency Edge research this year with clients is how high agency value is in the minds of clients who hire agencies. And it's much higher than agency leaders think it is.
Right.
So
especially
in
after the past couple of years, when
everybody's grumping about a few.
Everybody's been questioning
our relevance. So 52% of agency leaders in the Agency Core study strongly believe that clients are questioning whether agency fees are worth the cost any longer. But on the agency client side, only 29% of them expect us to reduce fees because of AI. They actually want better from AI. They want us using AI, and they want us using it for what they hired us to do for them, and they want better results. They want better ideas. They want more ideas. It's not about dropping fees for the vast majority of clients. So
when we look at these numbers too, like these are overall numbers across the entire study. So as we get into the attitudinal segments, it's very different depending on which group you belong in. And even when we look at 29%, while that's still a large number, you know, there's a good perception that that 29% is focused on just different areas of the type of work that agencies do. And I think we do all understand that there is a lot of pressure on more tactical type deliveries.
Yep, for sure. That's where we're seeing that come up more often. So half of agency leaders believe that building trust with clients and prospects is harder than it has ever been. But 75% of clients strongly agree that agencies are a critical partner for their business success. Overwhelmingly, clients are glad to have their agencies. And what we're seeing in the data, and it's been a trend that's happening, but I think AI has accelerated it, is that rather than clients thinking we are less relevant, the opposite is now true. Clients see us as more relevant than ever, but for specific value, and that value is strategic value. There's no question about it. So the tactical stuff, I think clients can see ways that they can save some money by doing some of that stuff themselves with AI, but there is no question that we are highly valued from a strategic standpoint. Look at this. 48%, say clients are more skeptical of agency recommendations. This is their belief. 91% of clients say working with an agency increases the likelihood that they will achieve their goals. And over 80% of clients say they would actually fire an agency that does not challenge their assumptions.
This classic as we come to the table, you know, I mean, clients hired us to be experts in what we do. And if we're sitting here and half the people in the agency say that clients are skeptical, while they're saying that they need us to achieve success, I mean, this gap on itself is showing just general insecurity across, you know, the industry.
And I think it keeps us from giving recommendations if you think that they're not going to be well received, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead. What else were you going to say, Brian? I interrupted you.
No, it's just, you know, as we get, I don't want to give away a lot of this as we come, but as this goes further, this just really illustrates just kind of the general trend through this research of how we're finding, you know, just that expertise, that strategy. It's a long told story, but the data is showing overwhelmingly that it is just aggressively becoming more and more required to be successful.
Yeah. And I think it really flips the concern that a lot of agencies have about AI making us irrelevant, and instead presents this age that we're in as one of incredible opportunity for agencies if we take advantage of it. That optimism and that value on the part of clients does not mean that agencies are not having any challenges. And in fact, we see significant challenges that have become more pervasive across agency world than they have ever been. So we're tracking specifically for this presentation 4 challenges that the majority of agencies said are severe challenges for them. In 2022, you can see the numbers there. That was our first agency core research 5 years ago, 2025 last year, and 2026. The blue line is the challenge of maintaining a robust pipeline of right fit clients. And that has barely budged in the last 5 years. And it affects 2/3 of agencies, saying that is a severe challenge. The green line is being paid what we're worth. That was flat between 2022 and 2025, and it has increased significantly in 2026 to affecting 49% of agencies. Likewise, the challenge of being different and showing up as being visibly different from our competitors has also been flat, and now has increased dramatically from 1/3 to 1/2 of agencies experiencing that as a severe challenge. We asked a new one last year, which is AI's impact on our relevance as an agency. Last year, 20% of agencies cited that as a severe challenge. It's doubled, more than doubled, to 46%, almost half of agencies. So we're dealing with a lot as agencies. We worry about a lot. We're struggling with a lot. The pipeline thing hasn't budged, but everything else is getting harder. So let's take a look at each of those in detail, what agency clients are saying about those challenges, and what agencies themselves are saying. Let's look at pipeline first. So almost 2/3 of agency leaders in our study say finding new clients is harder than it has ever been. 53% of the folks who said that they were struggling with that pipeline problem, which is about 2/3 of agencies, more than half of those agencies, when we asked them, could you name a strategy that you believe would solve your pipeline problem, whether you're using it or not, 53% of them could clearly delineate a strategy that they knew would help. And they wrote it in an open-ended box. And you can see, when you look at the data, you can see what those answers are. Then we asked them, to what extent is your agency embracing the strategy you just wrote down in that box? Mm-hmm. And only 17% say they are fully embracing that strategy. So the interesting thing to me about this, Brian, is that this is not, are you doing what the experts are telling you? Are you doing what the conference speakers are telling you, or those who are writing a book? This question was, are you doing what you yourself believe would fix your problem? And still, we really, really struggle as agencies to just enact the strategies that will solve a problem, like a pipeline that we believe will solve that problem.
I mean, this has been a problem for a long time. Agencies have never been great at doing their own marketing or their own positioning at times. When I say that, it's just because the classic prevalence of the cobbler's kid. We hear it all the time because just the urgency of client work, it's paying the bills, meeting the revenue, But when we look at the numbers, 17% is, I don't know. I look at it and I'm just like, that is incredibly low.
Yeah,
And when I say it's even low, you think about how fast things are changing, how obvious, how is just the topic at the table about what's going on and how do we keep up with things, and still at 17%, right?
Yep. And so many of us struggle with this problem. And when we look at the open-ended responses to the question of why you haven't been able to implement a strategy that will solve your pipeline problem, we see the answers that we've always seen agencies give in this research. I've been doing agency research for 13 years, and we see I'm just too busy doing client work. We're trying to get everybody upskilled on AI. We have to work a lot harder at new business than we used to, and so there are a lot of those things that just haven't changed. But when 2/3 of us are struggling with a problem that is a really severe issue for our agencies, like pipeline, and so few of us are able to implement it, I think it needs some sunlight. I think that specific problem between what we know we should do and what we're actually doing deserves maybe some attention. And maybe AI can help some of us address some of these and make that a little less hard to do. Challenge number 2 was the differentiation difficulty. It's increased 48% in the last year now, affecting almost half of agencies. Only half of us, just less than half, have strongly committed to a niche position in our marketing efforts. So we asked 2 questions. Do you have a niche as an agency? And then, do you market that niche? Have you committed to that niche when you are talking about yourself as an agency where people other than clients can see it? And this number has not budged over 5 years. Meanwhile, 95% of clients say having a niche gives an agency an advantage when that client is hiring agencies. We are leaving money on the table. Yeah.
That's a virtual 100% almost.
Yeah. Yep. We're leaving money on the table. There's a lot of things, though, that agencies worry about with niching, Brian. Yeah. There's a lot of reasons they give for not doing it.
Because it means that you have to turn down revenue. You have to turn away projects. And, niching down isn't just all of a sudden deciding like I'm going to do it or talking to your team about it. It's years of showing up, of like publishing articles, talking, developing thought leadership. And it's a huge commitment. But it's so like it takes some moxie.
Yeah. But, I talked to an agency last week, Brian, that decided in January of 2025, it was time to just niche and go for it. And they rebuilt their site. They repositioned themselves. They started creating thought leadership content, focusing on this niche. And 18 months later, it has returned in spades for them. Their pipeline problem is no longer an issue. They are now getting paid fees that they're worth, so they don't have the pricing pressure. So it can turn things around for your agency. And what we see is a very strong correlation between the agencies that are struggling far less with pipeline. They are niched. They are overwhelmingly more niched than the folks who are struggling with this pipeline problem. There's a
So,
strong correlation there.
as an agency owner, I have a bit of a perspective on this also, that niching down definitely takes like thought leadership and time into it. But there's a slice of this that is really marketing budget. So if instead of like reaching out to anybody or everybody, like if you have that niche, you can narrow down your targets to a smaller group of people who are core focused, and it does make it easier to reach out. It does make it easier to really spend your money in a meaningful way and your time. There is always a halo effect where people come in, but I think there is that anxiety, right? Because
There is.
And I always go back, even like with Drew McCullen, like, you know, his advice had always been like, it doesn't mean if someone walks up to you with a bag of money, you have to turn it away. If in your heart, you know, you can help them, you take the bag of money.
Yeah, but you don't have to put that project on your website,
exactly.
right? Everybody's got to pay the bills. That's for sure. Yeah. Okay. Only 35% of agency leaders strongly agree that their agency's marketing clearly communicates what makes them different. And I think part of what is driving this differentiation challenge is that it is so easy to fake being an agency these days, to being an experienced expert agency. Anybody can spin up an agency website in about 20 minutes now. And you really have to differentiate yourself to stand apart. And a lot of us are not doing it. And when we look at clients, they overwhelmingly say that they want an agency that can strongly differentiate them from their competitors. And if they come to a lot of agency websites, they're not seeing differentiation. And I don't know why they'd hire us to differentiate them if they don't see us differentiating ourselves very well.
Why would they want to bet on us if we're not willing to bet on
if we're not doing a good job with that? Yep. Challenge number 3 is this fee pressure. It's increased 22%. It affects half of agencies. 32% of agency leaders believe that clients are increasingly questioning whether their fees are worth the cost. In fact, 82% of clients say they will pay more for specialized expertise. And it's that word specialized that I think is that we see as the difference here in the data. It is specialized expertise. And that can be in an industry, with an audience, with a tool like AI, in a geography. There's lots of ways to niche. And I think the more you stack those things, the more niched you are. But clients want specialization overwhelmingly this year. And at the same time, we're worried about what they're paying us and not specializing for a lot of us.
When we look at these numbers too, like at the end of this call, there's all the data visualizations of all the data. And in there's the ability to break it down by attitudinal segment, by question, by demographics. So even as we look at this 32% of agencies questioning whether their fees are worth, we can get in and look at how it differentiates from the attitudinal segments, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, but particularly those who do have a core focus. The reason we keep talking about this is those who are differentiated in the attitudinal segments, there is a massive gap, and that gap is a lot larger than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, they just experience any of these challenges far less than the rest of us do. A very strong correlation. So when we asked same question of folks who were struggling with client revenue growth, getting them to grow revenue year over year, can you name a strategy that you believe would solve that problem? It's almost the same numbers. 56% say yes, and they name it. And only 14% then say they're fully implementing that strategy. So it's the same problem we see on pipeline. AI's impact on agency relevance as a challenge for agencies has more than doubled, now affecting almost half of agencies. 74% of clients, however, say that the best agencies combine technology and human creativity to deliver better ideas. And I will tell you, when we did the agency core research, the agency edge research with clients last year, what we saw is a client base that wasn't sure about AI, wasn't sure if agencies should be using it, wasn't sure it was safe to use, didn't know how to use it. What we saw this year, agencies overwhelmingly know that their clients overwhelmingly know that their agencies are using AI, And they overwhelmingly are fine with it as long as we're using it to further the goals that they hired us to achieve for them in the first place, right? They are not afraid of us using AI. In fact, now they're afraid that we won't, and their competitors' agencies will. Mm-hmm. So AI acceptance is very broad, and I think that that's a huge shift from what we saw last year on the part of clients.
But the story gets better as we get to the next numbers.
Only 25% of agencies say they're completely transparent about their AI use for clients. 82% of clients say transparency about AI use increases trust in their agencies. A huge gap, Brian. So we still see agencies afraid to be transparent.
We're once again, we see the insecurities that come from just how things are moving forward. And, to some degree too, also, I don't think that the transparency is necessarily intentional, but things are changing so fast. Like, how are we describing it? How are we getting ahead of it? How are we using it? So as my agency works with a lot of other agencies with AI implementation, what we are seeing is a lot of fragmented use when we go in. Like, one person uses it one way, but it's not necessarily shared, or it's not necessarily infrastructure or organizational processes, but everybody is using it a little bit differently. So I'm not sitting here saying that agencies are necessarily afraid of going and telling them that they're using AI, but it's a hard story to tell sometimes with confidence.
Yep. I'd love to just pause here a minute and talk a little bit about this AI transparency thing, because this is not a small point. This is a huge trust building opportunity with clients to be transparent around AI. Mm-hmm. I'd love to know, just in the chat a little bit, how many of you have a published AI policy for your agency that is visible to prospects, like on your website, and anybody can look at it? How many have that? Just put something in the chat if that's something that you've got. So the reason this is so important is because of all of this data. Okay, Shannon, not to prospects, but to clients. I think that's pretty common. Here is the opportunity. With so many clients wanting us to be transparent. Yeah, Paul, me too, revising and updating. With so many clients wanting this, I want to suggest, and I'm talking to my clients about building your AI policy, putting it on your website for all to see, and grounding it in your values as an agency. I think that serves a couple of purposes. For one, it shows prospects your AI policies and your values before they even have to reach out to you. That is very trust building. Secondly, it reminds your clients why you are the agency that you are, and that you use your values to determine how you use something like AI and to make decisions about using it on the part of clients. And it also gives clients confidence to talk about how AI is being used in marketing by their agency internally. So they can answer questions about, oh, is our agency doing this? Is our agency doing that? I think it's a really powerful and differentiating opportunity. I know very few agencies that are doing this now, and I think it's something that we could embrace as an opportunity to build trust instead of be afraid of and hide behind a curtain just for our clients to see. 37% of agencies say clients want them to help them adopt AI safely and responsibly. I can tell you from looking at the data in the Agency Edge that is woefully misunderstood on the part of agencies. Overwhelmingly, clients want us engaged in AI and actually helping them use AI well and ethically and safely. 54% of clients actually say that agencies are primarily or completely responsible for the results of AI use, whether it's done by the agency or even by the in-house marketing team on the client side. And only 35% of clients say that the responsibility is evenly shared. None of them say that clients have a bigger responsibility than we do. So in a lot of cases, your clients actually want you to be carrying this bag of responsibility for AI. So you need to be aware that that is the case and think about the implications for you as an agency in terms of getting into something like governance or helping your client establish their AI policies with respect to use of AI in their marketing. Because clients overwhelmingly are looking to agencies to do that, whether we realize it or not. Only 20% of agency leaders strongly believe AI strategy is a deciding factor in agency selection. Look at the percentage of clients that say that expertise, that reputation in AI use for marketing gives an agency a significant advantage in being hired. So here's the second way we're leaving money on the table, right? Niche is one. This is bigger. This one's even bigger.
This could be the best slide in the whole presentation. I mean, like, this is like the cheapest, fastest opportunity to really be able to build trust and get there. But the truth is too, like, the window is closing on this opportunity. And
I actually think, Brian, that agencies feeling like there's still stuff that they don't know and there's still stuff that they're looking at and exploring and learning is fine. I think that's actually trust building. I don't think clients will believe you if you say you know everything about AI, because I don't think anybody does.
They just can't see us stumbling. They just can't see us lingering in the background, because you're right, no one has it completely figured out.
Yeah, and what they're afraid of, is that their competitors' agencies are more aware of how to use AI effectively than their own agency is. So that's where you don't have to know everything. You just have to know more than the other agency does, I think.
It's like being chased by a bear is the story you were telling.
Yeah, if the bear comes out of the woods with your camping group, you don't have to run faster than the bear. You just have to run faster than the slowest person in the group. And I think this is kind of where we are with AI. So I encourage you to think about maybe sharing more about what you're doing with AI. When we asked clients what services they see successful agencies in 5 years offering, overwhelmingly 68% cited either AI strategy enablement and governance services and or technology selection, integration, and optimization. Look at the list. We gave everybody 3 votes. 52% of the clients used one of their votes to cite strategy, enablement, and governance around AI. And I think the interesting thing about this, Brian, is that we may get to 5 years from now and we'll have AI chips in our head and we can look at this and say whether this ended up being true. I don't think it matters whether it's true in 5 years. I think it matters because clients that are looking for agencies now don't want an agency that won't be around in 5 years. They want to hire an agency that they can stick with. So they want us they want to see us developing this now when they're hiring.
Right. So one way I interpret that when we say like strategy, enablement, and governance, you know, if we break it down into, you can say, hey, we have our inputs. We have the design, we have the data, you know, even everything we do today, the ideas, the creative brief, the interviews, okay? Then the middle segment of execution is not represented in strategy, enablement, and governance. But when we talk about governance, we are talking about the outputs. So in this, like in 5 years, the major shift I see in the value moving to the front and the back of this process is that, you know, things are moving so fast. We are so used to being able to like just work our way through, create a deliverable, edit that deliverable on the front end. But the story's changing. We're not sitting here editing what's happening in the output. We're going back and modifying the inputs. And that's going to be a huge shift for everybody. Instead of just modifying the deliverables and finishing it, we've really got to be the stewards of all the inputs, the brand standards, everything that, you know, we use to define how we go to market for our clients.
It aligns with that increasing focus among clients on our strategic expertise as opposed to our tactical abilities. So as Brian keeps trying to drag into our current conversation, here are those 3 leader mindsets that we wanted to show you. These are all based on attitudes, and this is what we found among agency leaders. 3 groups, all about the same size. That first group, confident differentiators, are strongly committed to a niche. Their marketing strongly differentiates them around that niche and is very effective on their behalf. They are known as helpful experts in their niche. They have a reputation. They say they are very good at building trust with prospects before prospects have to contact them. And they do not see AI as a threat because they already have an established position. They struggle less with fees. They struggle less with pipeline. They struggle less with AI's impact on their relevance. They struggle far less with differentiation. These are the folks who have it figured out. The other two struggle a lot more than confident differentiators with all of those things, but they are handling that situation differently. AI opportunity embracers have decided that AI is how they are going to leapfrog the competition and build a reputation that is going to solve those problems for their agency. They believe AI is changing what it means to be an expert, that success for an agency depends on its ability to adapt more quickly than ever before. They know that clients expect them to lead their way on AI, and they are building trust based on that AI expertise. So they have a plan, these embracers. Hopefully they'll end up not just being an AI expert, but being an expert in whatever their clients' problems are that they want them to solve for them. The pressured and uncertain, this is 32% of us as agencies really struggling. Finding clients is harder, building trust is harder. They say they need to make big changes to succeed. They say clients are more skeptical than ever about the fees and the recommendations that are coming from agencies. And this group sees AI as a severe threat to agencies. They don't know what to do. These folks are really struggling and really stuck. And these are the folks that I'm really worried about, Brian, because I think it is very difficult to stay in this position for very long with how fast things are moving.
No, in fact, when we looked at that pressured and uncertain, I believe it was 16% of them are considering just throwing in the towel.
Just throwing in the towel. Yeah.
Right.
So the other thing I want you to know about these groups is that there is no difference between them in terms of the revenue of the agency, the size of the agency. Anyone can be a confident differentiator, whether you're big or small, whether you have a ton of revenue or not very much, as long as you're profitable and you are committing to a niche, effectively marketing, et cetera, you're going to have less problems than the other two groups are. So that gives me great hope. Any of us can get to this place, Brian.
So the part of this, like, as I look at this and as I've had time to really think about it, it actually brings me a tremendous amount of hope because particularly in the confident differentiators, really what this highlights is the fundamentals still work. Audience definition, knowing who we're talking to, you know, like building the reputation, that has always been part of the industry. So for me, like, great hope, huge amounts of opportunity, you know, here. You know, when we look at the AI opportunity embracers, you know, at this moment, you know, being AI focused is still a buzzword. There is still opportunity, but AI is not going to be a differentiator. It's like electricity. It's going to be table stakes. And as I look at this, and we look at this segment as having the most struggles, you know, it's like I go in my head and the thing I remember is like, there's a reason the compass was invented before the clock, because it was more important to know where you're going instead of how fast you get there. And a lot of these, while these people are very still optimistic that AI is great, the biggest risk is that they end up somewhere because, well, they don't know where they're going. They don't know where they're going to end up. They're just running a race without necessarily having a destination.
Yeah, it's like specializing in one of those early web building platforms, website platforms that no longer exist, and then you're in trouble, right? Clients overwhelmingly support AI use by their agencies as long as it is used to help the client achieve what they hired the agency to do. So we got to watch the shiny object syndrome for sure. All of the data between these two studies really boils down to a specific sort of formula, a recipe for future-proofing your agency. And it really depends on building a trusted reputation among other experts who influence your prospects, right? It's not what you say about yourself, it's what others say about you. And that reputation has to be for specialized strategic expertise, not for tactical output, not for generalized behavior, which, by the way, it's very difficult to build a trusted reputation for everything. It's much easier to do that in a niche or for a specialized service or approach that you offer or problem that you solve. And you have to build this reputation before initial contact by prospects, because what we know is that building trust in the AI era depends on building trust before prospects talk to you. 59% of buyers, Edelman says, now believe business leaders are intentionally misleading them to get their money.
And this number's
And that's going up.
grow.
That's just going up, right?
Right.
57% of agencies say that building trust with prospects is harder than ever, but 63% say building trust with clients is harder than ever. And only 27% of us say that we are building trust before prospects contact us. And that we know that B2B buyers are more than 70% through their buying process before engaging with us. So we're losing our best prospects before we hear from them.
In this, just me personally, part of my perspective and like the trust item here, as we look at it, is I have this theory, and I think I'm, as much as my crystal ball can tell anybody, I think it's right, but like, I really feel that like AI is what's going to make us human again, because trust is really hard to get. So, you know, being able to get back out in front of people, being able to really make those connections. And when we talk even about demonstrated authority, it does mean getting in front of people. You know, you look at how authority is built, and you don't necessarily look at a company and go, oh, this company has authority. You're looking at people when you describe authority and thought leadership. So it gives us the opportunity to go out there and really build trust when trust is declining. I think it just opened the door.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is actually, I think, the big problem. I think all those other things that we see are symptoms of this problem, that we just are not building trust with who we need to, when we need to, about what we need to, as much as we could. Almost half of agencies strongly agree they're known as a helpful expert among prospects in their niche. 59% of buyers say reputation is critical. And 86% of agencies say that clients value most the agency's reputation as an expert, but only 20% of us say we're excellent at building that reputation.
That's wild. That's 1 in 5.
Yeah, right. And it's more important than ever to get other people talking about you than it is to get you talking about yourself. When we look at what makes clients believe that agency expertise is real, this is the percentage that said usually or always. So number one, sharing research you've conducted about your niche. You guys are all here looking at research that was conducted about a niche. So research is just one of those things that's highly valued. 74% say that niche expertise was mentioned by trusted experts. And look at the comparison to what agencies say about themselves. An agency claims that it makes about itself. That's a 20-point differential. So if you are not building a reputation in your niche with others that influence your prospects, the impact of what you say about yourself is dramatically diminished. And it's not getting to prospects who are making decisions before they ever give you an email or agree to have a phone call with you. So this is really, really important. We're seeing it more important than ever in this sort of age where the clients are reluctant to click on links. They're reluctant to give you an email because of what is inevitably going to happen when they do. Edelman did a study last year called Invisible Influence, and they found that 95% of B2B buyers say thought leadership makes them more receptive to sales and marketing outreach. So if you are having a pipeline problem and you've been wondering whether building thought leadership, whether you like that term or not, right? But putting out helpful content that builds your reputation is worth the effort, this is a huge number. If it makes your prospects more receptive when you are ready to reach out and say, hey, would you like to talk about how we might be able to help you solve this problem? You've got to pay attention to this number. It is hugely influential. So the nut and bolt of all of this, I think, Brian, is that as agency leaders, we overwhelmingly know already what we need to do to fix our problem. Our success depends on us doing it. And I think when we look at that pragmatist group that's really those frustrated folks that represent, almost a third of us, I don't know whether a lot of those people are in that. Yeah, I can write the strategy that would solve the problem. I'm just not doing it. They're in that group. So I think even if you don't want to listen to us or other experts, you probably already know what needs to be done, and you're just not getting to doing it. I know that's the case with me. I am a cobbler's kid of the first order. But it's more important than ever. Time is shorter than ever to continue to be successful, because I think those that aren't, they're going to get wiped out on a more quicker schedule than ever because of what's happening with AI.
And this is the amazing thing. Like we're coming out of a prior year where, being relevant was questioned. So as we come here, we're actually, we're seeing there has never been more opportunity before. And when, as Susan was saying, with only 17% in the different statistics of agencies who are actually taking advantage, like this is a huge opportunity for the agencies that do, because there will be consolidation in the industry as coming forward. So it's just going to open up the door. And I can't remember the exact numbers, but marketing budgets across business are continuing to rise still. So it's not like there's a drop or a cliff that we're seeing in any way.
Yep, they're spending more. So I'm going to come back. Both of these QR codes will take you directly to the visualizations for the agency core and the agency edge results. I'm going to come back to the slide in case you haven't gotten those on your phone yet, but I want to share something else so that you could kind of see what that looks like. So I'm going to share with you, just on screen a little bit. This is the agency core data visualization that shows all the results. We skimmed the surface of what's available in this research. You can look at all of the data. You could see all of the segment characteristics. You can look at which challenges are the biggest issue for which types of agencies. All of this data is there for you to use. It's completely ungated, and we hope that it is helpful to you. You can use it in your content to talk about how your agency is different from most other agencies, but there's tons and tons of data in here. And both Brian and I really hope that you take the opportunity to look through those, because there's so much more than we could even share in an hour that I think will give you great ideas for how to support your agency in the coming year.
And we'll be following up with all this information in the recording and a follow-up email, but also know this is all available on the agencycore.org website. There's no
on the
required anything.
That's right.
Click the link and there you are.
That's right. So we have a few minutes. Does anybody have any questions or comments on any of this? Or you could put something in chat, or you could just unmute yourself. Thank you, Philip. Appreciate that. Shannon, lovely that you were able to join us. Ryan, what do you think?
Hey,
you look at a lot of data.
It's amazing. Thanks for sharing all this. I was curious about the client side research that you guys did. Could you talk a little bit about, how you guys approach the size of the clients, like any specific industries that were over or underrepresented? I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, let me, I'll go to that viz real quick so you could just take a quick look with me. The agency edge research is focused on small to mid-sized agencies. Let me share here with you real quick. It's focused on small to mid-sized agencies. So when we look at the respondent profile, you could see sort of, how everybody is in terms of their level, B2C, B2C, or B2B clients, the decision-making responsibility that they have. Here is gross annual revenue for this year. If they have over 500 million, that's too big for most small to mid-sized agencies. So we include that, and you can see under a million is a substantial group. And here are their marketing budgets. We cap participants at a $20 million marketing budget, but a lot have lower than that. And look at this, 46% of these clients say they are definitely niched, which is one of the reasons so many of them like niched agencies. We've also got data on the relationships that they have with agencies, how many they have, what they use their agency for, and on their in-house marketing teams. So that's all in the Agency Edge research, Ryan.
Excellent. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Such
You
good
bet.
info.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I have a question,
Yes.
Susan and
Yes.
Brian. If you were to summarize in a sentence the difference between what you learned in surveying clients and surveying agencies, what is it? It seems to me, and I don't want to pollute your thinking,
Please.
but my takeaway is, boy, we really don't know our clients as well as we should, because we seem to be worried about a lot of stuff that they're not actually worried about.
I think that last one is it for me. I think that the main message I get is that agencies are far less likely to credit ourselves with the value that clients credit us with, would be number one. But the other thing I would tell you is that clients have higher expectations than ever. They want us to manage AI for us. They want us to be strategic about more for us. They want us to be more strategic than we used to be. So the bar is high, but so is the value that agencies put in us. And I personally, Paul, wish so much that so many of the agency leaders that I talk to who are afraid that we're losing our relevance could see this data and know that the opposite is true.
And Paul, I'd say it's just the focus has gone so far just to outcomes, back to traditional marketing and fundamentals once again, where agencies are sitting here fumbling, going, what subscription should I have? Should I be afraid to tell people how I'm doing it? So we're stuck in the process where clients left that conversation a long time ago, and they're just like, better results and results. It's pushed us back to the fundamentals of outcome marketing. I mean, it's actually very refreshing, I think.
Yeah.
You can't
I'll tell you
an SEO report anymore.
You can't. I'll tell you, Paul, when Drew McClellan, who I do the agency client research with for AMI, and Brian and I got together and looked at the result, because we released both of these studies at the same time this year in May together. We conducted them at the same time, which made for sort of a crazy year for me. But the result of being able to compare the perspectives on the similar topics between the two of them was so powerful. We're going to do it again next year. We're gonna match those two up so that whatever we decide we're pursuing, I'm sure AI will be a big piece of it next year. We're going to get both perspectives on those things, because for me, I've been seeing some of these differences, but to have them just direct head to head in the same time frame about exactly the same topics has been really eye-opening. So we're going to keep at it.
And then also know, like, the way Agency Corp is positioned, like, we have a lot of partners. So Drew McClellan has gone very heavily into this because of just the value that we've been able to create. But we're also working with like Carl Sakis, Mercer Island, Predictive ROI, WP Engine, like a whole slew of other agency leaders. And progressively, they'll be providing analysis against it, and even talking to like other agency leaders who are doing additional research that we compare. What Agency Core is doing is we're very much like defining a demographic that allows us to then add and complement a lot of other research initiatives. Yeah.
The more data, the better. And I do think that comparisons with what we're seeing to other studies are just helpful. They're just helpful, you know? So we just want to get the word out to everybody. So tell your friends, no gating. We don't need your email. We're not going to sell you anything. It's just information. And you can see all of the studies. So I hope that you find it helpful in your work.
It's great. Really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Love it. Anybody else have any questions that we can answer before we let you go? If not, we'll give you back 9 minutes in your day. Okay. Thank you for giving us some of your Friday. And do follow up with us if there's anything at all that you have questions about. I'm always happy to help you see what you need to find in the visualizations or have a chart for a presentation. We're here. So just let us know. And maybe share this with your internal teams. Maybe it'll help with some of the perspectives that folks in your agency have about what clients really want.
And Ryan, safe travels to Scotland.
Yeah, have fun in the doom and gloom.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Thanks so much, guys. Excellent info. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Really great. Thank you.
Wonderful. I appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
You too.
Bye, everyone.